Hey, so I just wanted to make a quick video running through some of the Reaper scripts that I use as part of my game audio sound design workflow. These are scripts that work for me, but I'd never want to impose my workflow on anyone else. The best workflow is always the one that works for you. So just bear that in mind going forward. Okay, so first up is item repositioner or reposition selected items. We highlight these, run the script, and then we set it to 2 seconds at the start, meaning that it just aligns to the Reaper grid, which by default is at 2, 4, and 8 second intervals. And if we get in a second layer, take out the silence with dynamic split, we can run the script again, line them up at the start. They line up neatly so that when we come to sound design, all the start of our transients are all together. If we do the opposite, highlight them and set the time to 0 at item end, all the ends line up together, making sure there's no dead space. Next is LKC Variator. So you highlight your items, you can modulate your parameters down here, and it just picks a random value to sort of modulate them by, meaning that when you've got clusters of sound like this and repeat layers, if you haven't got any more source, it's a great way to introduce a little bit more variation. But it is random, so do use it at your discretion and do be careful. Next up is Bird Global Sampler. So what this does is if you've got a plugin like Whoosh that doesn't output audio directly onto the channel, you'd have to send it to another channel and record it that way. What this does is Bird Global Sampler is constantly recording the output of the channel that you put it onto. So I've got it on the master here. So I'm outputting some whooshes, and then what I can do when I'm done playing is just drag over one that I liked, drop it in, and there's the sample that it played, and it's recorded at your project sample rate as well, which is nice. And from there you can trim it down, use it however you'd like in your project. So next is Content Navigator. It's the only paid script that I'm using in this video. So if you separate your work up into layers like I do, so this is a gunshot of a body mech and a sublayer. It just means that you can click on them individually. They're soloed, so you can just work on each element at a time. And if you're working in a project and you've got staggered layers, once you click on them individually, it takes your cursor straight to where the media items are located in the timeline. Next up is Radial Menu. So this basically is a radial menu like you'd find in a game, but you can customize any action or script onto it. It's really quick for actions that you want to use often, but maybe you don't want to remember a keybind for. Okay, the next script is insert one new child track for each selected track. Super catchy, I know. But what it basically means you can do is if you've got your track layers set up here, you can just highlight them, run the script a couple of times, and then those are your subtracks. A quick way to get your project set up. Okay, next up is hot off the press, and it's SourceValidator. So if we drag some source in here, we can highlight them, and then we run the script from up here, and it gives us all the essential information that we need about the items, such as zero crossing, whether it's mono, if there's any regions in there, the actual name of the files, the format. It's really good for checking, especially if you're doing sort of mass batch exporting on game audio assets. This is a really good way to check them. And finally, a mention to Fast Effects Finder, which when run brings up this search bar. You can search between your plugins, and it sorts them by most used as well. So your most used plugins will always be at the top. A quick way to get plugins on a track. Okay, and that's it. Appreciate it's been pretty rushed, but wanted to make it as quick as I could without rambling too much. If there's anything you're unsure of in this video, just drop me a message. I'll be more than happy to help. Cool, cheers.